Hello, my friends! Today is our last day of Art History Week, but don't worry, we're going to have so much more fun next week. Today we're talking about one of the most famous artists ever. His name is Claude Monet. Claude Monet worked outside. He said, I'm going to paint and draw in plein air. In French, that means basically in the air. Working outside was really helpful for him because he was obsessed with light. How did the light fall on things? Let me show you one of his most famous paintings. Can you see it? That's right, it's of a bridge and water lilies. In fact, at the end of his life, he lived in a beautiful garden in a place called Giverny, where he had Japanese gardens with a beautiful bridge and water lilies everywhere. But way before that, he was one of the first what we call Impressionists. In fact, what we can talk about and then create is this idea of creating brushstrokes that are very quick. So that's what he did. Now, one of the things I think he did a great job with that I want you to think about is the idea of creating a sense of space. Ooh, there's that light we're talking about, right? So I love those water lilies, and I love his quick strokes, something you can try too. He once said, the richness I achieve comes from nature, the source of my inspiration. Now I am going to work with oil pastels. I'm going to make sure I'm using a lot of white because light and white work well together, and I'm going to use some paint, but you could do this with pen, you could do this with watercolor, you could do this with anything. Now, while we're working, I want to talk to you about three spaces. This is called the foreground, not like the foreground, but like the forehead, the foreground. That's the beginning. That's where things are really big. See how when I put my hand really close to you, it gets really big, but when it's far away, it's really small. It's not like my hand is changing. It's that your perspective on where it is changing. So that's the foreground. I'm gonna add a little lily pad. I have some friends named Lily. Is your name Lily? I really wanna color it in. I really do. I wanna spend some time on it for a minute. So I'm gonna get all my greens and I'm gonna blend them together. I'm gonna add that white. Oh, maybe I'll do this. Now this is so silly. I like to say that I'm going to make an Oreo blend. An Oreo blend is really just saying I'm going to take one color and then I'm gonna make sure there's a creamy middle. That's the white. And I'm going to blend. Now an Oreo is a sandwich. It's a very sweet sandwich. So I'm gonna go back on top with another color. Now that is starting to look impressionistic. Let's talk about what that means while I color. So Claude Monet was alive during a time where he was not at first that popular. In fact, he tried to go to a big art show. Have you ever been in an art show? At my school, we have a beautiful art show. And so, I'm gonna change colors here. And this one's gonna bleed right off the page. Can you see? I don't think so. Let's go a little darker. And when he wanted to be in that art show, it was called the salon. Not like, oh my gosh, I have to do my hair. I have to go to the salon. No, it wasn't like that. It was like, oh, I think I can't work like this for a minute while I talk to you. It was like an art show. But do you know what they said? What? It's so windy today. That's what happens when you work in plein air. Okay, back to our regular programming. So, Claude Monet wanted to be in this art show, the salon. Do you know what they said? They said, no way. The judges of the salon, the art show, said, we don't like your work. So he said, well, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna have my own art show. And he did. And he gathered all his friends and they had a beautiful art show. And a man from the newspaper went, Oreo time, I'm adding my white. And he said, you know, Let me tell you something. These are crazy paintings. These are a bunch of Impressionists. It was like they were making fun of him, which seems really mean, right? But then Monet said, hey, that's really cool. I am an Impressionist. I'm gonna use that nickname. I like that nickname. Okay, so we have 2 water lilies in the foreground. So now I'm actually gonna hop all the way to the background. Now I'm not gonna have a horizon line, we know about that. I'm gonna switch to purple and I'm going to make a little baby friend. Look at that little cutie patootie. See, he's so far away, or she, or whoever. I'm going to make it an Oreo. I'm going to add my white, just like Claude Monet. It's fun working outside, but sometimes we have to stay inside. A lot right now, huh? Let's see if I can find another green. Oh, look at this. My students know I like to name the colors. This one looks like a really nice lily pad green. I call this, I'm so silly, a toothpaste green. Lots of different greens are monochromatic. We know that. I could even repeat colors and I could have this one go right off the page. Now you might like to do it this way. You might like to look at more Monet paintings. You might want to try the bridge. He also didn't have a lot of money. Monet did not have a lot of money. So he would draw pictures of his wife, Camille. But because he didn't want everyone to know that it was her over and over, he'd cover her face. So you could do a portrait. Okay, we have the foreground, the background. What do you think the middle one's called? Oh my gosh, Jeannie Beanies, that's right. It's called the middle ground, the middle fiddle time. So we're gonna make those medium-sized. I'm gonna use my Oreo plan. I gotta find my white though. Where'd it go? There it is. I'm going to add my Oreo. Now, sometimes I just want to eat this half of the Oreo. I'm so silly. What I mean when I say that is I might not want to put the top back on. I might not want to add any more color. All right, I'm feeling good. Now, this one has more, but this really shows the sense of depth. Let's move that one down for a second. Ooh, it got a little wet. That's fine. So we have our foreground, our middle ground, and way back here, our background. Now, if you are like me and you are using crayon or oil pastel, you could paint. If you are using crayon and you don't have paint, you can actually take marker and you can go right on top of the crayon and it will resist. Now I need to paint like an Impressionist. I'm gonna start with many, many shades of blue for my, I feel like, can I tell you the truth? I think I need one more middle fiddle. I really do. I think I gotta put a friend right here. So sometimes we have that happen to us where we look at our work, we think we're ready to go forward and we're like, wait a minute. I have to engage and persist. I have to stick with it. I have to reflect upon my work. There are so many jobs of an artist. You don't even know you're doing them probably. All right. I don't want to rush. I do have a little more to do, but I think I'm gonna get ready to start using my Impressionist. Whoa. I really gotta clean this up. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready to paint? I think we're ready. So I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna go like this. And I'm going to create my Impressionist strokes. Some people say that it looks like a mess when you're up close, but then when you get further away, it looks amazing. Oh look, I can go right on top. Remember how that just resists? And I'm gonna keep on painting. I wonder how it's gonna look when I'm all done. I wonder what yours is gonna look like. I'm so glad you're here. I'm gonna call you my sweet potatoes today because you are so sweet. And I'm so glad you're here. So I'm going to take a break and I'm going to work on this. I wanna see what you're working on and I will see you here later. I'm so glad you're here. Subscribe below, ring the bell, someone told me to say. I don't know. I hope you have some plein air today. I'm going to say au revoir, mes chéris. Goodbye, my sweet friends. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.